Here you go, guys. I'm going to put a disclaimer out right now. The following opinion is going to be very unpopular. But, you know, um, give it some thought before you decide that it's wrong. So, if you find yourself taking a strong stance against, you know, political issues, economic issues, social issues, gender issues, equality issues, then you would be doing yourself a disservice if you weren't, spending some time listening to Jordan Peterson speak. And he's got tons of lectures on YouTube and stuff. There's really no reason. If you can access Pornhub, you can access Jordan Peterson. And he is a diehard opponent of equality of outcome. Now, as far as equality of opportunity, not so much a problem with that, because equality of opportunity, it allows people to do what they want, and literature already states that in like the Scandinavian countries where they are closest to an egalitarian kind of government or society, that the gender roles would people thought the gender roles would become less important, but in fact a greater distinction has been made, and you can look up that research and see why. But the thing is, equality of opportunity is in itself not a bad idea. Equality of opportunity is basically what the U.S. Constitution kind of gets at. But the reason he takes the stand against equality of outcome is simply because when it comes to work, when it comes to interest, when it comes to all of these things that potentially dictate someone doing a job better, the outliers, the talented people. Imagine you may be a talented person. Now imagine the thing that you're talented in, you spent years doing. Imagine that somebody who just wakes up one day says, I want to be a sculptor. And then they're given all the same benefits that you have, even though you've tried your whole life. You've honed your skills your whole life. And here's where the unpopular opinion is. And this isn't Jordan Peterson's opinion, it's mine. It seems to me that, put bluntly, the people that argue for equality of outcome are the people that don't have any talent, and they don't want to be left behind. They don't want to be, because in a system that isn't equality of outcome, I'm a painter, okay, I'm an artist, so somebody who's not an artist, who is maybe not as good an artist, assumes that that they would make less money, or that them making less money would somehow negate their abilities. It would create kind of like a system of ranking. Well, to think that every potential pitfall can be approached and moreover fixed is fucking ridiculous. That imagine the person whose job it would be, that once we made this decision as a society to take care of all the little things that end up getting fucked up because we didn't think through everything. Now, me speaking as an artist, I don't like the idea that somebody could wake up one day and be like, oh, I decide I want to paint, and then be treated the same as me, who I've been making art, I've been honing my craft since I was a child, and that people would argue that's equality. That's not equality. That is it's communism. You notice the people that are arguing for equality of outcome are people that are just I'd be willing to bet that if the literature would say something along the lines of people who are in support of equality of outcome, they probably have low opinions of themselves. They probably aren't specifically talented at any one thing. Um, Probably a great deal of the population, feels this way. Um, Now, in my opinion, the best way to combat this is become talented at something. You know, um, there's an old saying. You know how you get to Carnegie Hall, don't you? Practice. You know, when I was 5 years old, I was drawing rudimentary stick figures. And I was trying my best. But it's through dedication, and I guess you could argue infatuation and you know, um, I don't know, whatever the hell else you want to call it. You see that you can learn pretty much anything. You know, when I'm creating art, I'm very good at a specific type of art, and I could create that art over and over and over again, keep doing things in that style. But that doesn't interest me. I don't want to be a guy that's good at one style. I want to challenge myself. I want to do the things I'm not good at. I oftentimes take commissions for work that scares the hell out of me, but it's only by doing that stuff that I become good at it. A lot of artists, illustrators, pen, pencil kind of guys, when they start drawing, they find feet and hands pretty tough. And even portraits, like I hate portraits. I would rather have chlamydia than do a portrait, and so that's why I do them. Um, and I do them until I'm sure that I know what I'm doing. At least know what I'm doing enough that if somebody comes to me with a commission, I can make that happen. Um, like that's the nature of talent is discovery. Uncharted waters. So if you're of the mind that equality of outcome is a good thing, then I would advise you to pick something up and try to become good at it. Because first and foremost, you will see that it's a hard thing to do, and you'll gain the perspective that somebody who's done it for 30 years um, should not be subjected to your feelings of inadequacy, so as to, not hurt your feelings. Someone who's devoted their life to something, that should be acknowledged. You're devoting your life to something, and you know there is there in any society where people are involved, there's going to be failures. There's going to be mistakes. To think that we can solve everything is ridiculous. But what we can do is we can be equal where it's reasonable. We can be, open-minded. We can we can be understanding, and we can take into consideration other people. So, you know, um, equality of outcome doesn't take into consideration people who are devoting their lives to something. Now, on the other side of that coin, like me, as somebody who's done something for 30 years, now if somebody came to me and said, I want to learn how to do this, I would be more than happy to teach them and help them to get to the point where they could be equal with me as far as pay, if that were the case. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody. I'm just saying I would impart what I know. And the thing is, part of what I know is that I don't know everything. And so I go and I'm constantly learning new techniques. I'm constantly eating up knowledge. Um, and it may seem kind of simplistic and almost insulting to say that the people that are interested in equality of outcome are a bunch of untalented crybabies. But basically, that's seemingly what it amounts to. Because if you truly want equality of outcome, then you should be willing to devote your life to something to get it. You shouldn't just be able to wake up one day and get it. That's ridiculous. That's I mean, the nature of life is to lose it, which is what gives life meaning. Knowing that you're going to die. It's only by experiencing the darkness of the world that you can appreciate the beauty of the light, you know. Um, and when you are just given something because you want it, that that sets in motion a very dangerous chain of events that leads to a very dangerous mindset. And I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with me, and that's fine. You can disagree with me all you want, especially on this one. This is just my opinion. Um, my ex-wife was very much the equality of outcome type, equality of opportunity, equality all around. Now, when you take the attitude equality all around, you're not doing it because you legitimately want equality all around. You're doing it because, as far as good versus evil, equality of everything is a pretty safe bridge to be standing on. You know, not a lot of people are going to take issue with you wanting things to be equal. I mean, you could almost argue that people that take the stance, I want equality for everything, it's a lazy stance, you know. Um, and just like I wouldn't want somebody to wake up one day saying, I want to be an artist, and then be treated the same as me, who has spent years honing his craft. I wouldn't expect to wake up one day and say, hey, you know what, I want to be a mathematician, and expect that I would just be given anything. The one thing about humanity that you can't put under a microscope is the variables. There are going to be people who, I mean, we have savants that can paint exact replicas of Da Vinci's paintings. You know, there are people with genuine talent, and those people are the people you listen to on the radio. They're the people you go to the museums to see. And once you make it so those people aren't special anymore, then you lose the reason to create things like that, to be special. If everybody's equal, then there's no reason to work yourself to the bone to create a beautiful masterpiece. There's no reason to do anything because everyone's just going to get handed. It's going to turn into a lazy system, you know. And people think that the nature of equality of opportunity leads to equality of outcome. And I mean, that's a big jump. Equality of opportunity is one thing, but it doesn't have to mean equality of outcome. And we can see in the studies that have been done, it very rarely leads to equality of outcome. But then people who really just want to, voice their opinions, they want to be standing on the side of good. They want to be seen as right by everybody around them. I am completely uninterested in dealing with those people. If your sole priority in life is to be perceived as, brilliant to your group of friends, but you won't engage in a meaningful debate or even a frank discussion, then who the fuck cares what you have to say? Stand up for what you believe in, not for, what you think will make you popular. And, at that, if you're going to stand up for something you believe in, you know, if you're not willing to debate it and evolve your thinking, then don't fucking speak at all. Just live your fucking life. Try not to fuck up. Try not to burn your house down. Try not to raise kids that end up being carjackers and rapists. I mean, this may sound kind of harsh, but I mean, really, at least where I am right now, this seems to make sense. I'm open to any discussion, any, kind of, exchange of ideas. One thing, it's very easy to tell the difference between somebody who is just fighting because they want you to be wrong and they're fighting because they actually believe in what they're saying. Someone who actually believes in what they're saying will have more than just, well, but I feel this way. They'll have more than that as an argument. If you feel strongly about something, strong enough that you're gonna, go out there and vomit it onto people's fucking lives, then you should be able to defend it. You should be able to take criticism. You should be able to, you know, um, get into, discussions and debates about it. And they don't have to be negative. People get this idea in their head that someone who takes an opposing view is automatically an enemy. That doesn't mean shit. That's the same ignorant kind of view that leads to fucking stupid wars. Like two people can sit down, friends. I sit down with friends all the time, and they share opinions, and I go, okay, well, here's why I think you're an idiot. And it's friendly. By the time we're done with the conversation, You know, maybe something good is maybe somebody's mind has changed, maybe somebody's hasn't, but we shake hands afterwards and we go on being friends because, I mean, realistically, these things are things that a lot of these things are just ideas that need to be polished. You know, a lot of these, um, you know, knee-jerk reactions to policies and stuff. Um, you know, it's an opinion, it's a thought process that has not been properly concluded. Um, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people on this planet feel like they're not talented. I am 100% a believer that there is at least 80% more talent than people realize. And the people that realize it aren't the people that have the talent. You know, I've seen people who have never done anything artistic up until the point where they're 25, and then they start sculpting and then become brilliant at it, or they become a photographer. You know, granted, you know, anybody can really buy a camera and become a photographer, but those of you out there who know art, who understand art, you know, who suffer for art, you can tell the difference between somebody who is talented, who is untalented, and who's getting lucky. You know, and that's what years of training allows. So if you're one of the people that feels like you're not talented in something, I would suggest maybe quit moping, maybe quit, you know, hand wringing that everything should be equal because you feel inadequate. Pick something up. You're not good at sculpting, try writing. Almost everybody I meet, once they put pen to paper and write, they have interesting things to say. Try picking up a pencil, drawing. You know, try all kinds of things. Like, and if you want a clear representation of how, you know, your opinion might not be, your evaluation of yourself may not be adequate. One of the highest grossing, uh, one of the highest selling artists of today, most recognizable, is Jean-Michel Basquiat. Now you look up his art, and you might think, "Shit, I can do that," and a lot of people thought that. But people who had been doing it for years looked at it. Like, I look at that stuff, and that stuff's fucking amazing, you know, because you could look at it and be, "Oh, I can do that," but if you don't, if you haven't devoted your life to something, you won't understand the use of colors, what they're trying to do. You know, like in something like Jean-Michel Basquiat's work, he's trying to say something, and he's saying it in his way. There are people who are, like I said, they're savants. They can paint perfect representations of the Mona Lisa, and they're less famous than Jean-Michel Basquiat because when it comes to art, art is interpretation. You know, it's perspective, and all art is eternally unfinished. It's supposed to be that way. Art is finished when it's creating a circuit with the viewer, and for minutes, hours, whatever, and then that circuit's disconnected. That person's touched by the painting's touched by the person. Next person sees it. No two circuits will be the same. Sometimes they will, you know? Like, there's no rules to it. That's what I'm saying. Like, you think you may not be talented. There are people who are making a lot of money doing things that, you know, like, and I'm not saying this to be cocky, but things that I could do in my sleep, you know? I know that on Instagram, I constantly run into people who are creating art and they're making a lot of money by making stuff that I could do by jamming a pencil up my ass and sitting down hard, you know? But that's what people were drawn to. They came up with it first. They had this idea, and that's where the other brilliance comes in. You know, the brilliance to be brave enough to share your creation with the world despite what you think about it, despite what people who dislike it, you know? If I show somebody a piece of my artwork and they're like, "I don't like it," holy shit. Guess who doesn't give a fuck? This guy. I don't make art because I want to impress people. I make art because I'm compelled to. It's in my blood. It's all I know how to do. It's I'm not even in control of it. It comes out, and if I tried to stifle it, I have no idea what would happen. You know, it's not even a conscious decision to do it. So, um, before you argue equality of outcome, stop and think what that actually might mean. And as always, don't like, don't subscribe. I don't give a shit about that stuff. Just be good to one another. It's so fucking easy. I mean, it's really not hard, you know? And just try to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. 9 times out of 10, you can pull your head out of your ass by just acknowledging you don't know everything. The people that think they know everything, they just prove how little they know, you know? Um, and as always, if you have a differing viewpoint, please, by all means, reach out. Let's talk. I'll give you my fucking phone number. We can call and we can talk about it. You know what I mean? Um, like I'm always ready to have a like a like a discussion with real well thought out opinions. I look forward to the idea of someone evolving my thinking, and you should too, because how else would you learn anything?